Hello, David. Very good to hear from you. It's been quite a while. You asked two great questions that I wanted to take the time to respond to here. So, your first question was, how do I best market our new program, which in your case, I believe is Mandarin, Chinese, English dual immersion? How do you best market that both internally at your Christian school and then externally? It's a great question. And then the second question is, how do I best promote the details of a visioning session in which parents participated? So, two very good questions. I'm really glad to have the opportunity to share my perspective with you. So, let me give this a shot, David. First question on how do you best market your new program, which in your case is Mandarin slash English language dual immersion. How do you market that internally in your Christian school and externally? So, yes, this is a challenge, isn't it? Even when it's a new initiative that most people should agree at this point, this would be a great step forward for your Christian school. The reality is it's still change. And in schools, particularly with teachers and staff, change is hard. Most of us just do not like change and are resistant to that, even if deep down we know that this is change for the better. So there is a leadership opportunity here, which is how do you kind of position, how do you message, I would use that word more than market. How do you get very clear on your message so that people internally can really buy into this and then externally as well. So I think that the best framework for developing a message for something new is to help people really look at this through the lens of your mission and your values and ultimately your vision. Now, that's easy to say. Wow, doesn't that sound impressive? Mission, values, vision. But I want to share with you specifically what I mean. So anytime you are making a change to your Christian school overall, it is an opportunity with people to hit a home run on your mission. Now, remember how we define mission, which is to say it's how you do, what you do, and for whom. So how we do, what we do, and for whom. Those are three components of really good, clear mission. So when communicating a change, you want to be helping people by filtering this through your mission. In terms of what is it that we say already in our mission that we are here to do? Who is it that we say we're here to serve? What is it that we are trying to accomplish? And how is it that making this change helps us do that more effectively? And when you're tying it to phrases that are already in your mission statement, what you're doing is you're kind of helping people with language that they already understand, that they've already bought into, and you're reinforcing, oh yeah, we mean what we say. That is what we say in our mission, and you've got to connect the dots for them. Okay. Now, another thing about this particular change that you're talking about, oftentimes a new program like this brings with it either a very significant cost as a launching of a new program, or in your case, it may be creating an incredible revenue stream as well. Now, in your case, I don't know which, but it could be one of those two or it could be both. I think that a lot of times we make the mistake of not being upfront with that. We tend to talk about the glorious mission and our values and our big grand vision, but we don't engage in this conversation about the financial impact of this as well. And so what happens, especially internally with faculty staff, is they kind of roll their eyes and go, it's all about the money anyway. That's why we're really doing this. So I find that it's best to be proactive with that. Now, you don't do that by going into the dollars and cents, but you do that by connecting it to your mission and talking about how this is either an investment in getting better that has a return on the lives of the people that you serve, or if there's a financial return on this, then you talk about how this is making you stronger, how you're becoming more financially sustainable for the long term. Our mission is to be here and to grow and to be here for future families. And to do that, we need to make decisions that enable us to get financially stronger and stay healthy over the long haul. So connect it to the mission. Connect it to your values. Even if you don't have stated core values, connect it to those ideas that are your Christian school at its best, and how this is something that we're changing to be more effective, to get better, and to help students become what it is that we say we're trying to see them become. And then lastly, that connects to vision. I think you always want to connect changes to our vision for students, who we hope and pray and are working to see them become. This young man, this young woman, and we are making these changes to help them become the people that are prepared for what they will face and being effective and equipped by the grace of God and the knowledge of His Scripture and the knowledge of all the very best in education that we can provide. So those are a few thoughts on how to market or how to message this change internally. The more external you become, the more you talk about your vision. Values and mission are less relevant for families. You want to reinforce that. You want to hit a home run on that anytime you're communicating change. But ultimately, families have to be reminded and really want to be reminded where this is going in the long term for their son, their daughter. So connect the dots to your vision for students in a change like this, particularly when we're talking externally. Now, your other question, I love this question. How do you best promote the details of a visioning session in which parents participated? Now, based on how you've worded this question, David, my assumption is that you already had this visioning session. And so your question now is, what do you do with this? How do you maximize the impact of that? So I have a few thoughts. Number one, when you have a session or you involve families in strategic planning or big vision thinking, even if it's a small group, you need to remember that they somewhat represent the broader families that you serve or the broader community. So hopefully you had a group that was somewhat representative, even if not they're not totally representative. You still want to make that connection. So a few ways to do this. Number one, you make this news that you had this visioning session, that you connected and you connect it to your planning for the future. And this is important, connect it to your commitment to unity as a school family, as a school community. So one of the things you could do is to promote this as an event that happened, that people came together, you posed these questions, and they spent time. So that could almost be like a press release almost, except it's to your community. So that'd be one way. Now, I also would recommend when you do a visioning session like this that whatever possible that you be very transparent with the notes of that time. Hopefully you kept notes. I really find that when you've got a small group coming together that's sort of representing this broader group, the whole point here is not so that everybody gets their say and their way. The whole idea here is to create dialogue, to get people thinking, to unlock this dreaming side of their brain. So being transparent with the notes, being transparent with the results of that time is very key. You don't have to say any of the decisions you've made or any of the strategies you're implementing yet, but just kind of as a report. Here's a report. So if you can't be totally transparent for whatever reason, maybe there's too many topics, maybe some of them are very controversial, and dialogue would be problematic, you certainly can and should broadcast an overview of the results of this meeting. So kind of your summary overview of the big takeaways that the school leadership has. So that way you're not transcribing every note, but you are saying, from our perspective as head of schools, administrators, as working with the board, here are a few of the big things that we are continuing to pray and think about and develop strategies for coming out of this meeting. We're so excited. We wanted to share these with you. And then the last idea I have of this is probably the simplest and yet the one that's most often missed. When you communicate about this, in whatever form and however much detail you go into, you've got to promise to follow up and then follow up. If you want that time and the conversations that happen to have value longer term, you have to promise to follow up in the communication, and then you have to do it. And that's the power of this, is when you implement a change, when you implement some new strategies, when you start implementing plans, you're able to, similar to what we did talking about the change with Mandarin English, you're able to connect the dots with people back to that visioning, back to the input and the buy-in, back to what we say our vision is. And very, very powerful techniques on that front. So, David, 2 great questions. I hope this is helpful for you. Tried to keep some of my best thinking here on this video and get it across to you. So I'm excited about what you're doing. I love the way you're thinking, and I like the fact that you're grappling with, how as a leader can I take these as opportunities to then build on and bring people with me as we move forward. So thanks again for your question. I look forward to talking with you in the future. Keep me posted on how you're doing, David, at your Christian school.